One of the big ideas in engineering ethics is this idea of designing ethics into the machine, so building the machine so that it can only work ethically. And in fact, there's a whole new field emerging at the moment called machine ethics or moral machines. And the idea is to devise ethical software, and that will support doctors, for instance. And it turns out that maybe ethical machines are better at predicting when you should switch off a life support machine or not. I'm not too happy about it myself. And some people have the idea that maybe machines could be more ethical than people. It's certainly an idea resonating around military machines at the moment. You've got Asimov's laws, but of course Asimov's laws were science fiction and they'd be very difficult to apply to robotics. Asimov produced these laws really to mess around with us. Well, the first law, which seems very good for any engineering machine, is that you must not allow harm to come to a human. The next law was you must not, through inaction, allow harm to come to a human or allow a human to harm themselves, providing it doesn't violate the first law. The third law was robots, and I'm paraphrasing, robots should not allow harm to come to themselves unless it violates the first law or a second law. But of course, if you want to really see the ethical problems, read any of Asimov's novels. Read The Naked Sun, for instance, and you'll find out that he shows you how a robot could murder a human. So most of the time, these laws really got in the way and really upset robots, and in the end, it burnt out their positronic brains. Eventually, by the 1980s, of course, Asimov was very concerned about the issue that a robot could actually watch one human kill a million other humans and not be able to do anything about it because it can't harm any humans. So what he did in his zeroth law, which took precedence over all, was to protect humanity. Now in this instance, the robot would have to weigh up all the time the idea that if this 1,000 people were to fire these weapons, they would kill a whole planet. So you should kill the 1,000 people rather than wreck the whole planet. And you can see the kind of ethical and philosophical conundrums this led us into. Asimov's laws aren't a great deal of help. We need to revert to real laws. Personally, I don't think that any machine should be in an ethical decision-making mode without human responsibility and human accountability. At least not until such times as it's demonstrated that a machine is as intelligent as a human and has the same emotional import, if that's what's needed. Of course, I'm using the word intelligence here perhaps a little bit too broadly. I'm including, for instance, compassion. You can sit and reason about ethics as a philosopher, you can do all these things, but when you're having to be ethical on the fly, it relies a certain amount of compassion. So if you're relying on machines, they won't have that kind of compassion, nor do I think they will have that kind of intelligence in the next 100 years to be able to make these decisions. And I know there are other people in this room who are looking at me at this very minute in time and thinking, because they won't like it, but tough.